My name is A.F. Winter, and this is Confusional Arousals. I have promised to read you some of my writings, and I have in bits and bobs, but I never devoted a whole episode to my work. That is my intention right now. But something about my writing first. I write in many different styles. Well, a few different styles. I have published plays, novels, short stories, and poems. I write each for a different reason. I write plays to correct a social issue. I grew up in the theater, and I always thought that it was a particularly good medium to change public perception. I mean, you have an audience, and you can gauge the reaction to a play immediately. Then you could change for the next performance if necessary. My style was heavily influenced by realism and naturalism. Present a social issue, create some controversy, and then let the audience sort things out. My novels have generally been about human development. A person is trapped by his demons, but eventually finds his way into the light. Happy endings, right? Well, most of my leading characters die in the end. Tragedy, right? No, not exactly. You see, if I kill them off, then their story is complete, and we can look at the whole story and find meaning for ourselves. If the leading character survives, then they could always disappoint us at some future date. My poems are where I go when I want to touch the dark places in my soul. They are short and sweet, or terrible. They expose my angst, and I move on. Once I reveal myself, my pain has less power. It has not gone away, but I own it, because I shared it. Being that I am now doing a podcast, I should touch on why. A simple explanation is that it is a way to tell my kids what I'm going through at a particular moment. Now, this could also be true of my friends and family, but it is mostly for my kids. Once the chicks have left the nest, a parent can become less important. The young person has to figure out life for themselves. My life is different than my kids'. My answers could not possibly be their answers. Even if we believe the same thing, it is probably for different reasons and will manifest itself in different ways. The more the parent holds on to a reality that no longer exists, the further he will push his kids away. Presently, I try to keep out of my kids' way. I am there when they need me, and if they don't and are doing well, I am good. I have a little postcard on my wall that says, "Happiness is seeing your kids happy." Or, in my case, happiness is suspecting that your kids are happy. I have never been great at sharing my stuff with real people who are right in front of me. If at some time in the future my kids want to know what was going on with me, they have this. But back to my poetry. All the poems that I am sharing today were written at least 5 years ago. It is not that my new ones are crap. They could all be crap. But the old ones are of a time that I am no longer a part of. "I could tell you my adventures beginning from this morning," said Alice, "but it's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then." My first poem sums up my life and love, and it is called Love Poem. When I was young, I wanted to taste life. Couldn't wait to get out of my parents' house. When I finally broke free, I didn't call, I didn't write, wanted to break hearts, wanted to sow oats. I had a girlfriend, left her, then another one, left again. The next one left me, broke my heart. I had revenge. I dumped the next 4. The next 3 left me. I was still ahead of the count when I took a wife. The taking didn't take. She left me. My kids left me. Last week, my dog ran away. But I sit and write love poems as if I knew what life or love is. Outside at night, I look at the sky. The clouds race past the bright, bright moon, revealing, then obscuring the sky's true nature. I was once in love. Once. Maybe twice. And there's always that time of giddiness when everything seems magical. This is one of those poems. What I love about you. I am very sweet and I am very smart, and I do lots of things to capture your heart. I'll make you fresh yogurt, I'll bake you fresh bread, I'll kiss you and calm all the thoughts in your head. I am very cute with a dimple or two, but what is it really I love about you? Your look as you smile at me, your head on my shoulder, your voice as you say goodnight, slows down time so that moments sparkle like light through a window crystal dancing on the opposite wall. And moments with you become extraordinary, beautiful, exciting, and special. And no one has ever done that for me. I have written a few poems and short stories of life after the upcoming apocalypse. Thought it would be interesting. In my vision, life continues after the mutants roam the earth freely, hoping to find their favorite juicy morsel, the last remaining embers of the human race. For some reason, lawyers have survived, and even more surprisingly, book publishers. Although, on further thought, maybe not so surprising. In my imaginary future, I've sent my writings to one of them and was immediately given a contract, something I was never lucky enough to experience before the end of times. This is one of those poems. The World Now. The world is so much better now than it has been before. When you are in the midst of it, there is no threat of war. The skies have fallen long ago, the air too hot to breathe, the beaches full of plastic rings and bursting with disease. Our parents are responsible for giving us this place, for they were all consumed by greed and pursued it with great haste. But they were not the only ones to hold the weight, the blame. Our leaders filled our minds with hate, and hate is hard to tame. We hated them, we hated theys, we hated everyone. We even loved to hate ourselves. From this, where could we run? So now we have what we deserve, for we have lost the game. We sold our souls and lost our nerve, but we have kept our shame. I wrote a book called A Walk in the Valley a few years ago. It was about a homeless alcoholic who realized he wasn't seeing hallucinations brought on by alcohol, but he was actually seeing ghostly spirits. He eventually started to help them, and as he did, he became enlightened. I had been writing that book since the early 80s. It took me 30 years to finish. I always thought that Krepp, the enlightened one, should visit Auschwitz and give peace to all those who were murdered there. I didn't know how to write something like that wouldn't sound too crass or horrible or commercial. It was good that I killed him off at the end, so that I wouldn't have to worry about him ever coming back and going there. I've always been interested in Auschwitz because it's such a terrible place. Humanity can do great things, but could also do terrible things as well. We must constantly be aware of our evil nature and work against it. I wrote the following poem in 2017. It is about a woman who died in the camps. She was a children's book writer, but hatred does not consider if a person is a threat. Everyone is the same, everyone is guilty. The poem is called Standing Still. Bind thou, Siegfried, the bright red rings. Not kingly it is to fear many things. A fair maid I know, fair of all fairest, thou wilt gird her with gold. That is my favorite poem, because it is the last one I will ever hear. Cracking, blaring through rusty speakers, barely audible over metal on metal as the train breaks in the moonless rain. I used to be a writer, spinning children's tales of playful kittens with balls of twine. Then I spoke out against injustice, but no one listened, as if a children's writer could not speak truth. And no one listened. They covered their ears and averted their eyes, praying to their silent God that the storm would pass quickly. Now, I stand alone, naked, with 1,000 others. I hold a crying child in my arms. Where is your mother? Where is your papa? Seems stupid to tell her not to cry. Cry, cry while you can, so full of life, so close to death, her crimes too terrible to mention. She was born, and that is enough in this world. That is enough. I hear the sprinklers hiss, no water now, no water ever. Around me screams and fruitless movements, soon all that will remain will be scratches on the walls by bloodied fingers, and whispers of silent voices joining other choruses of yesterday's frightened children. But I will stand until I fall. Yes, I will stand until I fall. Then I will stand no more. When love ends, it is a time when everything in the world is too difficult to handle. We become overwhelmed with things that are as simple as getting out of bed. At those times, all I am able to focus on is cleaning a small area of my kitchen, putting away dishes or emptying the refrigerator of objects that had expired long ago. This is called the glass top stove. I clean the house when I feel helpless. If I can just clean that little spot, I would have something. And being able to do something, anything, in a world filled with sorrow is meaningful. A glass top stove, so scorched and black from months of neglect, calls for attention. I stand above it wondering how it got so worn. How has my life left me scorched and black, charred remains remaining ever charred? I scrub counterclockwise with my right hand. My left hand moves clockwise to check my progress. The end result is insignificant. The scorchedness remains. I wonder why she left without a word, her pain too strong for niceties, for reconciliation. The gray, speckled surface of the stove peeks through the darkness. How many months will this take to shine? How many years did the sorrow mount? Quiet avoidance of simple connections, vigorous denials of ever-increasing distance, obscuring even the smallest sign of affection. I work an hour, then two, the darkness remains, and all the pain the stains contain, it will not go away. But I may try another day. I often compare my lack of having relationships with my friends who do. I watch them carry out simple tasks together and admire their steadfastness, staying with another person through this and that, and so on and so forth. The only time I don't envy them is when sickness comes into their lives. I can take my own suffering, but if I had to watch someone I truly care about suffer, well, I'm probably not that strong. This is called 4 words. A friend of mine lost his wife today. He didn't lose her. Cancer found her. Anytime you measure a tumor in pounds. I often write of love, but I don't know if I ever had love. I was in love, and I loved, but I can't say that the love was ever reciprocal. My friend had a reciprocal love. Maybe that is what true love is. It is not necessary to have passion. It is not necessary to have tenderness. But whatever it is, it must be reciprocal. I don't know, because if that's the case, I never had it. But I'm thinking. The last time I saw her was before her illness. They were hosting a party. I can't remember the occasion, but there was laughter and good cheer, and they were happy. Somehow I was the last one to leave, and the 3 of us talked and laughed for another hour. It wasn't more than 3 months ago. I thought, when I left, how lucky they were to have each other. And now they don't. It is strange how powerful words can be, 4 words. And now they don't. How much pain and sorrow and loneliness can be found in, and now they don't. There's also the empty silence implied by those words. They once had tenderness and love and heated discussions on where bushes were to be planted and what color garland should be hung on the tree this year. There is a void which is now filled with those words, and now they don't. I know love sucks sometimes, but only if we let it. And life sucks sometimes if we don't see it as a gift. I ran to a friend in a supermarket one day, and she showed me how special each moment could be. This is called a jar of macadamia nuts. Things aren't important. Things are important. Does that make sense? She stood before me in the supermarket, a friend I haven't seen in over a year, with a disease that is slowly melting her body away. She smiled joyfully at me in front of the shredded cheese. Her happiness had nothing to do with the cheese. At least I hope. I think so, I replied. Big things aren't important. Small things are. Her smile continued. Yes, last year I couldn't stand. I might have to have surgery to fuse my spine. I won't be able to move my head ever again. I said, like this, slowly moving my back, neck, and head from one side to the other as one, imagining what life would be, not comprehending, like a naive child, learning about suffering for the first time. Yes, she said. We stood for a moment in silence as the Friday shoppers passed us in a frenzied passion, as if the 3 for 2 special held the meaning of life or the riches of Solomon. "You look well," I said, and I meant it. In fact, she looked beautiful, radiating a knowledge and understanding that few possess. "Thanks," she smiled again. Her eyes closed as discomfort from her condition took hold of her. "I can only get around now for small amounts of time, and I'm about done." I noticed a jar of macadamia nuts in her hand and looked around for her cart. "Is your cart somewhere?" "No, this is all I came for." I looked confused, so she continued. "Last year, I couldn't stand. I couldn't clean. I couldn't be the mother I wanted to be. Everything I thought I once was, I wasn't. I couldn't even bake. I love baking." She turned the jar in her hand. The nuts rattled softly. "For now, at this moment, I can do things, small things, simple things. Today, I can bake cookies." She looked into my eyes and smiled sadly. "Today I could bake. Silly, really. Not silly at all." I hope you enjoyed listening to a few of my poems. Until next time, I am A.F. Winter, and this has been Confusional Arousals.